can't make it, listen it on your station, your voice, the Galaxy Radio. All right, we got our next guest coming in. He is the former Webster soccer goalie. I believe he is the winningest Webster soccer goalie in all time. And now he is part of the new United Soccer League pro team, St. Louis FC. Brian Woodward is joining us on the Extra Point. Brian, welcome to the Galaxy Radio. This is our little crib that we do our weekly show in, and glad you could be with us, taking some time out of your busy schedule.
Happy to be here. Thank you very much.
The crib. Is that what this is? Is this MTV Cribs?
It's kind of a crib.
There we go. All right. I mean, I guess.
It's definitely a nook. I like it a lot.
I like nook better. Nook's a good word. Well, Scott, say, I mean, you mentioned the facility of GCS Ballpark, but how about the facility soccer park where Webster plays his home games, and also, Brian, we might see you out there a few times with St. Louis FC.
That would be awesome if that got to be the opportunity.
Do you know whenever you were first going in, the first tryout you went to for St. Louis FC was an open tryout, right?
It was.
Did you have any idea what the talent level was going to be like, or if your talent level was up there with them?
I really didn't. I know that I showed up, and there was talent all across the board. There was some really dominant field players. There was also some really suspect field players that, I know other field players that I talked to were nervous to play against because they weren't sure if there would be some injuries just from experience levels. But it was really cool just to get to see them all and see where I got to compare on that open tryout and then going ahead with that. So.
When was the first time you realized that you had a really good shot of making the team?
To be honest, I wasn't sure if I would. I went to the open tryout and then did pretty well in that, and I was going in right out of season from here, so I know I had been pretty in shape. There's probably about 2 weeks in between the end of our season and the start of the open tryout, but I had stayed in touch with goalie training and kind of kept my form and everything. But I made some big saves right away off the bat, and I was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, maybe we're here to do something. And then the day ended, and they said they'd get in touch with me, and then about 3 weeks later, I was invited to a combine. And at that combine, the skill level was a lot higher, and I was pretty nervous, but it was 2 days, and when I went in on day two, I did a lot better. I was a little more settled down and everything. So after that, I thought it might be done. I hadn't heard from him for a while, and then I got a phone call about preseason. I showed up, and nerves were back right away on the first day of preseason. So,
what was it like getting that phone call?
It was pretty nerve-wracking. I got a text from the goalie coach, Brian Jones, and he just said, give me a call later tonight when you have time. And I was in the basement of the library, so I didn't get the text message until I walked out. And I was like, it's 11:30, and I know he has a 2-year-old son, so let's text him first. And he's like, yeah, don't call me right now, please. So he said, I'll call you tomorrow. And or he actually told me to call him. And I called him and left him a voicemail because he didn't answer. And I wasn't sure if he was going to get back to me, but about 3 hours later, I was at lunch with my grandma, and I got a phone call. And he was just saying, he goes, Woodward, how you doing? And I was like, I'm pretty good. How's it going? And he's like, good. I got a question for you. And I was like, what's up? And he said, how would it feel to be coming in for our preseason in the next couple of days here? And I was like, I would love that opportunity. How would it feel? I remember I drove grandma home, dropped her off, and I was like running circles around the yard. I was so excited. I was like a little kid in a candy store.
Did grandma understand what was going on?
She still doesn't. No, she has. It's all right. I love her to death, but no, she's like, so are you playing soccer like professionally? You're gonna get paid? I'm like, no, I'm trying out. I have no idea where this is going. Oh, and she's like, well, what happens if you get hurt? I don't know. I don't know. I'd be getting to say I hurt myself playing against professionals. I'd be so happy to say that.
She's looking out for you, though, right?
She's
it's good.
Exactly
I'm sure she's a great woman, a great grandmother to have.
Yes.
So what's the experience been like? I assume you've been training ever since the end of the soccer season. What's kind of been the biggest transition for you from going collegiate and now you're playing essentially, for all you non-soccer listeners out there, AA soccer?
So
Triple A. It's Triple A.
Is it Triple A?
It's a step under the MLS, but we'll see.
Right. It's. I mean, it's been It's been different. I can honestly say I've never been this tired for soccer. I mean, finals week makes everybody tired, but no, I have to be up by like 7, eating breakfast in time to get to soccer park. They serve breakfast there, but I try to eat a little bit of a heavier breakfast beforehand. And so, I like days like tonight or tomorrow, I have night class. It's waking up at 7, get to soccer park by 8, change, eat team breakfast at 8:30. Training starts at 9.
They give you the good old cereal and milk.
Yeah, there's been some questions raised because some of the guys weren't too happy coming from the past that they've had. I guess they've been on a little bit I know Brian Gall is one of the guys that played for the LA Galaxy, and he started alongside Landon Donovan. So he's used to some pretty proper treatment, I guess, because he was kind of saying, oh, well, I mean, I had no complaints about Breadco bagels and, breakfast sandwiches and whatnot, but he was kind of looking for some other stuff, I guess. But I had no problems with it.
He's pampered, huh? So out in LA, they pamper the guys, I guess.
I mean, he's pretty good. He can be as pampered as he wants.
Now, we played on the same college team. Now, tell me, how does this kind of training in STLFC differ from Webster practice? Please explain. Take us in the practice and what's the steps you guys take, and as in stretching to drills and all that kind of stuff.
Well, if we're looking at STLFC, the way it works, I mean, you show up, and some of these guys are showing up dressed in like business attire. It's pretty intimidating. Before I came here, set out some nicer clothes to wear tomorrow because I wanted to try and blend in a little better. But they'll show up, and all of our clothes are folded, washed, and neat on the chairs, ready for us. We go in and get changed, drive out to wherever facility we've been practicing at. Tomorrow we're at Soccer Park for the first time, but we get there, and they put us through about a 15-minute warm-up, dynamic warm-up, high knees, butt kicks, all the stuff that people are kind of might know about. But then it gets down to really tactical training, like a lot of sharp passing. Today there was actually a talk beforehand. It was pretty cool, but the coach was saying, we have design drills, and they may last for 4 minutes, they may last for 60 seconds, but at no point are we we do not want you guys to settle down. It may be a 60-second drill, but that 60 seconds, we want you going 110%, and it's focused so that when you get to a game, you're ready for it. So it's been... Everything seems to have a purpose, and they seem to have an end goal with it in mind, and it's been pretty awesome to get to experience it.
Well, so where are you at right now? I mean, because I know as a player they don't tell you who's gonna start. They don't tell you. But I mean, what is it? Where are you at right now? Like, how many goalies are they going to have on the team? Where do you think you fit in there?
So I talked to Brian Jones actually in the middle of our college. Brian Jones, for anyone who's wondering, is the goalie coach at St. Louis Football Club. And I first saw him, and I actually wasn't even aware that he was going to be their goalie coach. He was my goalie coach from the age of 13 all the way up till I got to college. And then due to NCAA rules, I wasn't able to work out with him quite as much. But I saw him out at Soccer Park working out with the pro guys at a kick around, and I was just like, "Oh, are you involved?" And he said, "Yeah, we have this. I'm the head coach, and we've got 2 goalies lined up." And it sounded as if they brought in Mark Pace, who's a St. Louis native, who's signed. I know he's a signed contracted player and is in the number 1 role as goalie. Now, at that point, he left me under the impression that there would be an MLS goalie sent down from the ranks. He may have been a second or third string goalie, and it sounds like he would be in the Chicago Fire since it's the affiliate program, and that they were looking to fill the 3rd goalie spot. So they brought in myself, a guy by the name of Kent, and a guy by the name of Riggs. Kent played at SIUE D1 school, and then Alex Riggs played at Missouri State, another D1 school. Those 2 made it through their own respective combines and tryouts. So they weren't at anything I had been at until the first day of preseason. But from the sounds of it, we are competing for a third position. So we haven't seen the MLS goalie yet, which is kind of interesting. We weren't sure if he would be here for preseason. We were kind of under the impression he would be. But right now there's 4 goalies actively training with the squad. And from what I understood, right now they're looking for 3, but come summer they might be looking for 4. So the number's there. We're just not sure. Nobody wants to be the guy that asks coach if they're getting cut or what's the deal. So everybody, don't ask, don't tell. Just let me keep playing as long as I can.
But how pumped are you so that this Saturday, first game out at SIUE, I mean, obviously, there's only 90 minutes a game there, but you've got, there's going to be 4 preseason games, one at SIUE, one in Tulsa.
Then I'm trying to think. There might be one east, a little bit eastern. I know Louisville's our rival, but I don't think we're playing at Louisville.
Tulsa's like that home and home.
Yeah.
One game in Tulsa, the last preseason games at home.
Yeah.
And then there's a 4th one.
I think it might be Richmond, Virginia, but I'm not sure.
It could be it. But I mean, it's gonna be the first game. Then you're gonna get a chance to play.
Yeah,
goal.
we went through the first week of training, and I did pretty well. I definitely held my own, especially coming from a D3 school and competing against professionals. But I know that on the last day of the first week, they said they would save some time to talk to the coaching staff, any players that were non-contract players like myself, and see where you are at. So I went up and I talked to the coaches, and I was you've done pretty well, like considering where you're coming from. So we're really proud of like how you've been working hard and whatnot. But that I didn't like, because I was guaranteed only 1 week going in, and they said don't go thinking that 1 week is over. We want you to be ready for a second week. We're going to keep you around, and at the end of the second week, we're playing SIUE, and we're going to give you 45 minutes playing time against SIUE. So I'm pretty pumped for that. I'm pretty nervous, to say the least, but I hope it's good nervous. We'll find out on game day.
Yeah, for those who are wondering, this Saturday is at SIUE. I guess they're calling it a friendly match, which is preseason. It's a 1 o'clock start. And then they have games all in March, the 5th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. The 5th will be against Oklahoma City Energy at Springfield, Missouri. The 14th will be against the Tulsa Roughnecks, and that's away. But then they'll come right back. That's home, and then they'll go to Tulsa. That's the home and home that we were talking about. Right. And then the last, I guess, is that the last one, or is that the season opener? The Louisville City. Season opener is Saturday, March 28th at Louisville City. So a couple events, or a couple matches are coming up quickly, too. February is a shortened month, so March is going to be right upon us the next week. So a couple things. So they did say that you're going to get 45 minutes in the SIUE game.
They did, yes. Sorry, we were sharing a microphone for a second, but no, they did. I actually was not expecting it whatsoever, to be honest. But they said that my training has been at the level that they needed to be at. That my practicing and my skills in practice have been up to par with everybody that's there. Now the question is, when it comes down to the competition and competing in the arena, do I have what it takes to be successful in that situation? Because there is a little bit of a different attitude from anything I've ever seen in my playing experience, from playing St. Louis club soccer, high school soccer, and then collegiate soccer. There's nobody. It's not mean by any means whatsoever. Weird wording there, but no, they, you get snapped at. It's not necessarily from the coaching staff, but the guy standing next to you who you were joking around with before a drill, if you misplay him a ball, they'll let you know you messed up and use some choice words. So there's no room for kind of going soft into it, and I think they're gonna put me at the spot in SIUE to see if I'm ready to deal with that situation.
Brian, or go ahead. This is off topic a little bit, but
I'm gonna stay on topic. One more question on topic, then we'll go off. Mark Pace, so you say he's gonna be the #1 guy,
yes.
St. Louis guy from Ladue. Then a conversation I had with Brian Jones, the goalie coach, he told me that Mark Pace is the best goalie in the country that no one's heard of. What kind of, with recognition like that, with a statement like that, I mean, obviously he's pretty good. What kind of things have you seen from him, or have you learned from him?
Mark Pace and I trained together from, when I mentioned earlier, I started training with Brian Jones when I was 13 or 14, and Mark Pace is currently training with him as well. He's 3 years older than me. And I mean, to put it nicely, the kid's a freak of nature. He's 6'5" and can put his head behind his knee when he goes to stretch, just straight down to stretch his hamstrings. His fast twitch fiber muscles are just out of this world. I've seen him go from laying down to up in the corner of the goal diving in less than a second, and he's got so much body mass he's got to move. It's incredible to watch. But he's also taught me a lot. I mean, I've learned a lot from just watching him, but there was a day earlier this week that we were only going to have a half day of training. We did a morning session. We were served our lunch from STLFC, and we were told we could do whatever we wanted with the rest of our day. And Mark, Kent, and I went down to what they call the PTC. It's a training center at Gallagher's Park, and we were doing our own stuff. And there was a moment where I miskicked the ball 2 times in a row that I was serving in to have Kent catch, and I got pretty upset that I mishit 2 in a row because Kent was depending on me to serve him quality balls, and so I picked it up instead of kicking it from the ground and put it in my hands, and Mark Pace came over and grabbed my shoulder and was like, put the ball down. You're human. You're going to miskick it. You have a learning curve here. You're not coming in from the high intense college soccer that a lot of these guys are coming into. Stop expecting yourself to perform at that. We understand it and we're not worried. So that was pretty cool. And I put the ball down and immediately went right back to striking the ball that I expected to be able to hit. So he's a guy that I've looked up to from the minute I really got into goalie training. Like I said, he was there. He was kind of the 16-year-old, 17-year-old high school kid that was kicking butt, and then continued to do so in college. He was able to play at SLU and then transfer and still play out at Tulsa and then come back. I know he tried a little bit overseas, but he wanted to come home, so it was pretty cool. Like now, storybook, like a fairy tale to grow up in St. Louis with him. Now we're both playing in St. Louis together. So
very cool, very cool.
Woody, last thing I wanted to ask you was it's kind of a big deal, not just for the pro club, but also for Webster soccer. As most of you may or may not know, Webster or soccer park's going under some extensive renovations, and some of that is dealing with the lighting. And if you've been to soccer park over the past couple of years, the lighting over there is not necessarily the best, and they're going to upgrade it before St. Louis FC takes the field. So my question to you is, what's that vision change going to be like as a goalie? Was that ever an issue for you? And do you see any changes at all?
Like currently, I do see a lot of renovations that are happening. Like all the bleachers are torn out. There's a lot going on to the actual stadium side. From what I understand, they are waiting on some permits to come in for a 3-week renovation on the inside to renovate all the lockers, to like improve those a little bit more. But in terms of the field and whatnot, and like my experiences on it, have been some games where it's been hazy. The question is, for those of you who haven't been there, the field is 120 yards long by 60 yards wide. So it's a long, wide rectangle. And at the moment, there are 4 big light posts, 1 in every corner. And while it's not by any means dark, without lights in the center of the field,
it's essentially the ends are well lit, and then the middle is
just very dull, hazy and dark. So there's been moments in my career as a goalie, like we just said, the ends are really well lit. So I haven't had problems with shots that are close and within my area. But if I have a ball that's served in from the half line, it is a little bit darker until it gets to about halfway to me, usually about 30 yards in the air, and then I can usually get a good read on it. It's not that I can't see the ball, but you have to pick up on the speed of the ball and looking at the spin on the ball to know if it might move a little bit left, right, or knuckle a certain way. And so I can definitely see what the concern is with that. And the other concern that they have is that the USL does have a very, I think, a very big, not television contract, but they do web broadcasts for sure. And then depending on the city's success, they do television broadcasts. But it'd be pretty hard to broadcast because they always have the camera centered in the middle of the field. And like we just said, it's going to be pretty dark and hard to see the ball. So I know that they want to improve that experience for fans both at the stadium and at home watching.